What's up, Drop Pod listeners? You can check out new episodes of the Drop Podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find all of our content on YouTube at the Drop Golf Podcast and on our socials. That's Instagram and Twitter at the Drop_pod. No matter how you consume us, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along.
This episode is sponsored by Gimme Cocktails. Hey golfers, just because golf season is over in New Jersey doesn't mean you can't enjoy a taste of the course. Meet Gimme Cocktails, your favorite drink for any season. Gimme Cocktails is a family-owned business proudly based right here in Monmouth County, New Jersey. They've perfected the blend of premium vodka with either pineapple or lemonade iced tea, enhanced with a touch of effervescence. It's all natural, 7% alcohol, gluten-free, and the ultimate refresher whether you're winding down after a long day or gearing up for your next adventure. Find Gimme Cocktails at any Total Wine location, ShopRite in Middletown, Circus Liquors in Red Bank, and Huddy's in Colts Neck. Whether you're celebrating a win, unwinding after a busy day, or dreaming of next year's tee times, Gimme Cocktails is the perfect drink companion. And don't forget, drink local. When you sip Gimme Cocktails, you're supporting a New Jersey-owned company dedicated to quality and community. Follow them on Instagram at gimme_cocktails or visit gimmecocktails.com to learn more. Cheers to drinking local. Gimme Cocktails. Pick it up. This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Porro, and this is Ryan Coulott.
What's up, Drop Pod people? Welcome back to Interview Thursday. Mike and I have a real treat for you. We were able to, sit down virtually with currently, one of our new, bring him into the family, Mike. He's one of our new guys, James Nicholas, 2024 DP World Tour, 2025 Korn Ferry Tour member. James we had such an awesome interview. He was a great dude. Down to earth, low key, laid back. It was great to talk to him and hear his story about getting into golf, what the DP World Tour is, and how he did last year, getting his Korn Ferry Tour status, and that whole process. It was awesome. Really cool to sit down with him and how he got started in golf, really. And then they had their first tournament this week, and James competed and moving on to this week, staying in the Bahamas. So really great that we were able to get him in when we did before his schedule really kicks into high gear here with basically being out of the country for the next month.
Yeah, listen, I thought, we hear the stories of Q School all the time about how guys, it's either terrifying because they missed it by one or they made it by one and all the ups and downs. And to hear him tell his story in the final round about what transpired with his nanny, how he made an eagle. He even got a little choked up in the story as well. So it's one of those interviews that I know that everyone truly will enjoy.
Certainly. I also, for those that are going to comment, I know my internet's not the best. I had a little technology issues during the interview, so I kind of come in and out as willy-nilly as someone could during an interview. But Mike does a great job. He kills it. And yeah, without further ado, here's our interview with James Nicholas. Enjoy.
All right, so today's guest, again, when we're talking golfing in the Garden State, sometimes we like to step across the border a little bit. And while we're following the Korn Ferry Tour, our newest guy and our latest guy that we'll be keeping a close tab on is today's guest, James Nicholas. James, thanks so much for coming on today's show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Love having you on, James. Really excited about this.
So there's a lot to get into, okay? And I know one of the things that caught my eye way early in this podcast game that Ryan and I are in was your viral TikTok that went just nuts when you were sprinting to the first tee. But before I even get into where that is or where that was, give the audience a background about you, how you got into the game, how you decided to make it a career and then a playing career, and now getting all the way to the Korn Ferry Tour this season.
Yeah, it gives me chills, honestly, thinking about my journey. It's a little bit different than most, but as a lot of Northeasterners, we grew up spoiled. So we've got so many great Tillinghast, Donald Ross, Rayner, McDonald, Banks courses just around the corner from our houses. And I was fortunate enough to grow up in such a great area for the golf world, and played a lot of golf with my grandfather and my dad and my brothers growing up. Again, never really thinking about pro golf. That wasn't my thing. I was a hockey player and a football player, played lacrosse, swim and dive team in the summertime, sort of your country club boy, as some of my coaches like to make fun of me and call me. But I had a great time just going out and playing and really enjoying the sport. And then
hold on. Let's not overstate. You just said the dive team or the summers. Yeah, that is the most country club thing that we could possibly have.
Yeah, my parents involved. I was swim team, dive team, just kind of go do everything.
We played croquet on the weekends.
I didn't get that far. But I was just country club, swim and dive, baby. I still, to this day, I hold a state record for the swim team at relay. I had 3 junior Olympians on my team, and I was just the 4th guy who was just trying to.
Still counts.
That's wild.
Yeah. Hey, someone's got to be the 4th guy, right?
100%.
Yeah. So then, the funny story starts in high school. So I played football, hockey, and lacrosse, and those are my top 3 sports going into high school. So that was what I was going to play. And football season, I played JV, and I broke my collarbone my freshman year. I was a tiny little kid and got just obliterated. Broke my collarbone. Then 8 weeks later, hockey season started. Broke it in the first game back. So then
same one.
Wow, it was brutal.
Yeah.
So fast forward to the spring season, and I went in to get my clearance. Gold card is what we called it, the nurse's office. And I was like, "Hey, I'm going to play lacrosse this year." And she looked at me and she goes, "Why don't you play golf? I know you play golf. Like, why don't you just give your body a break?" And I was like, "I know I'm deciding between golf and lacrosse, but I want to play lacrosse. But now that you think about it, I'll play golf. I'll play golf, give my body a break. That way I'm fresh for football and hockey, because that was the sport that those are the sports I really loved and wanted to be good for." I made the state championship team as a freshman, which for me, that was a huge accomplishment, and that gave me the bug. So I continued on with golf for the next 4 years in high school. Ended up doing really well. My senior year, I won the New York State High School Championship, and I had a water shot that got on Sports Center top 10 that, again, these are just these little things that I was like, wow, golf is so cool. Golf is so cool. Golf is so cool. While playing some of the best courses in the world in the Met area for my Scarsdale high school team, just for our regular matches. We played Wingfoot, Westchester, Quaker Ridge, Fenway. We were so spoiled, and we honestly I didn't realize it until now. But that was that. I ended up getting a spot on the Yale golf team while I was playing football at Yale. And then after my freshman season of football, I hated it. So I quit football, committed my time to golf. And I have a personality where I like to do everything 100%. There's no, it's all or nothing, as my girlfriend or my fiance now likes to call it.
Hey, congrats.
So I went all in on, it was last week. So it's been a good last couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah, it has. Good.
Yeah. And then, so yeah, I ended up getting really good. I led the nation in scoring average my senior year, and was like, let's turn pro. We're gonna go to instead of going to med school, we're gonna go to Q school. Got my Korn Ferry Tour card that first season, and then since then it's been like this. But hopefully the trend line's still going up, and got my full Korn Ferry Tour card now. So that's a longer story of my golfing career to today.
All right, I got a whole bunch of questions from it now.
Let's go.
Did you not know, thinking back to pre-high school, you grew up playing at a country club, did you not know that you were any good going into your freshman year and then just kind of stumbled into it? Or are you I can play golf, I'm going to make the golf team, I know I can knock it around? What's the level coming into high school, I guess, is your knowledge of it?
Yeah, I was good, right? I was good, but Cameron Young grew up in the same county as me, and I went for an interclub match when I was 14 years old. This is going to high school, and our number one on the Westchester Country Club junior interclub team told me, "Hey, why don't you play number one today?" So I was like, "Okay, I'll play number one today, but why?" He goes, "Oh, their number one's a 14-year-old. I don't want to beat up on him too bad." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure, I'll go play him." So I get to the first tee, and this guy who looks like he's 25. His name is Cameron Young, and he hits a 330-yard bomb down the middle, proceeds to shoot 7 or 8 under par, beats me 9 and 8 or 8 and 7, and I'm like, okay, I know why you didn't want to play number one now. It is unbelievable. So I knew I was good, and I was good, but there were kids that were like this.
But you got
right?
Cam Young good, yeah.
Cameron was one of them. He was good, walking out of the womb. That kid was, he's a stud, and I'm still close to Cameron, and he's had a great career so far. So he's due for a win. But yeah, to answer your question, I knew I was good. Against my peers, guys I was playing with, I was always, one of the better players. I broke 70 for the first time at a very young age. But I played golf 2 months out of the year. The other 10 months were hockey and football, and golf was just, again, kind of that sport where I try to hit it as far as I could, find it and do it again. And I'd have a lot of high scores and a lot of low scores.
Okay. And then once you hone it in, then you can kind of, chisel away at it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just try to hit a little straighter and straighter. And then you're like, okay, well, now chipping matters too. So let's do that. And let's also make some putts and,
The New Jersey Golf Foundation, the charitable arm of the New Jersey PGA section, is proud to introduce the Heroes Tour coming in April 2025. The Heroes Tour will offer competitive golf opportunities at golf courses across the state for military veterans, active duty military personnel, and first responders, including law enforcement, EMTS, and fighter fighters. Proceeds from the Heroes Tour will support the continued growth of military programs offered by the New Jersey Golf Foundation, led by PGA Hope, helping our patriots everywhere. PGA Hope is a weekly rehabilitative golf program for veterans that is saving the lives of America's heroes in New Jersey and nationwide. Today, the program is offered in 15 counties across the state while positively impacting nearly 500 veterans annually. To support or learn more about the Heroes Tour, please visit njgolffoundation.org or call 732-465-1212. That's njgolffoundation.org or 732-465-1212.
All right, Mike, I'm going to keep going here because I still you got questions.
Yeah, I figure you're hot. You might as well strike while the iron's hot, too.
So then if I'm not mistaken, did I hear correctly? You played football at Yale?
I did.
Did you play both football and golf? Like, was that?
Yeah. So I got recruited to play hockey, football, and golf. And in going into Yale, the offer was for football and golf. I didn't end up pursuing hockey, and I got a spot. There's no scholarships at Yale, but I got into school for football with the golf coach holding a spot for me in the team. So I played football and golf my freshman year, and the fall season was just football because it's football season. There's no, I can't step away and play golf. But then once football ended, then I was on the golf team, played every single event in the spring except for one. And then after that, I quit football and then played every event the rest of my career on the golf team.
That's crazy.
Well, the story why I kind of chose golf. So I went on the Yale golf spring break trip, and the video's on YouTube still, but we played Cypress Point, Pebble Beach, SFGC, MPCC, Spyglass, Spanish Bay, all these great golf courses, and then finished that trip off with a college event at Stanford. And I was like, okay, I think this is what I want to do.
Which I imagine Stanford plays at some dog track, right? Compared to those are.
hey. Compared to Yale, the number one course in college golf, no, I won't say anything. But
that's actually, it's funny you say, because that's on my like, I don't want to say bucket list, but like I have had a couple buddies that were like, hey, let's do take a day, right? Because from where we are, it's like 2.5 hours to Yale. Like, let's get up early, let's drive up, let's play golf, let's grab pizza, let's come home. Like, let's do a full, big old long day. But that would be that course is supposed to be spectacular at Yale.
Yeah, and they're doing they're just finishing up a $30 million renovation with Gil Hanse, or restoration, I should say. So it's going to be even better.
Love that. That's crazy. So you're. I mean, people always come on the show and they're like, oh, we I played multiple sports, growing up. I played baseball, basketball, football, whatever the case is, right? But like, you're a stud in another sport if you're playing college football at a maybe not major, but Division I, Ivy League. Like you're no slouch in football.
I appreciate it.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's I didn't realize that it was Yale for both sports.
Yep. I was about 215, 8% body fat, and now I'm 173, dripping wet, and I don't know what my body fat is because golfers don't really need to know. So
That has to go down as the best decision, giving up football, lacrosse, hockey for this sport. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think that's one thing a lot of people say to me, like, oh, I wish I got into golf younger. I wish I got into it then. But I think you getting to kind of live that and then see all the benefits from decisions like that is a great example of it.
yeah, I would agree with you, but it's hard, right? Because so hockey was my best sport. That was a sport that I was best at, and giving up hockey was really hard for me. And still to this day, there's always gonna be those what ifs. I've got buddies who play in the NHL. I've got my younger brother who plays at Brown right now, and I think he might join the golf team too. He might be a dual sport athlete. We'll see. I'm trying to talk him into it, but when I talk to them, I'm like, hey, I wish I was playing with you guys in the NHL, and then they go, what are you kidding, dude? I wish I was playing on the Korn Ferry or DP World Tour or the PGA Tour. I'm like, yeah, touche. Like, it kind of goes both ways. I think you want what you don't have, and then when you have something, you want something else. And I had a great career in football and hockey, and I have so many memories that I made with some great players. And that playing team sports was the most valuable thing for me as a human being and as a golfer that I could have experienced, and I would never have traded those experiences for the world. So you got to love where you are now, wherever you are in life, and hopefully just put the best foot forward and keep going.
It's hey, you know what? And I just put this together while you're talking. We got 3 people on here that were 2 sport college athletes. This is
no way.
This is a panel of
What'd you guys
athletic
play?
studs here.
I was a basketball guy. Rye was a basketball guy.
Yeah.
And what were the others? You guys basketball and golf.
Yeah.
Unreal. That's awesome. Congrats, guys. That's so impressive.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you're doing it better than both of us were. So
yeah, we're obviously on the other side.
You're on a different level.
Now we just bunted around.
Come on.
But let's talk about the professional side of things here, because I think after your senior year at Yale, I think the bar is very high. That number and scoring average being at a spot where there are a lot of good names out there. What was that journey like, and what has it been like over these last few years of that?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I took the screenshot of the golf stat scoring average my senior year just as motivation, because if I won an event, I won 6 times in college, and if I won an event, my world ranking went down, like meaning I was a higher number, so not good. And it was interesting because I'm winning these golf tournaments, what's going on? And then there's guys that are finishing 10th and they're going way further up. And our fields were not as stacked, or might not have seemed as stacked as these other Division I programs, right? So if you go and win an Ivy League championship, you're actually, you were supposed to win, and then because you didn't win by more, you're not as good. So I took that screenshot because I was like, well, at least my average score, which golf, I know you can play different courses and different weather conditions, but let me tell you, playing golf in the Northeast is probably the hardest place you can play golf. It's the hardest courses. The conditions are always tough. It's windy, it gets cold. The greens are really firm and fast. So to me, that was proof that I had what it takes. And then if you read down the list of guys, I pull it up. It's in my album on my phone, but it's, Colin Morikawa, Victor Hovland, Matthew Wolff, Peter Quist, a lot of these guys that are on the PGA Tour now. And that didn't mean that I was better than them. It just gave me a little ounce of, hey, I can compete with them when I play my best. Maybe not, every single day at that moment in time, but hey, if I just keep, sticking to this and keep putting the work in, I'll get there. And then to answer your question about, this sort of pressure that might have added, or hey, like you're expected to be this good. No, I didn't really look at it that way. I was like, hey, I'm going to go to Q school. I'm going to learn a lot. I know that I'm not going to get through my first time, but I ended up getting through my first time. And I wish I had that sort of ignorance now that I had back then, because I got my card first year out of college, but I had conditional status. So Monday qualifiers were really, really important, but I didn't really know that. So I went to Monday qualifier, shot 11 under in the Monday qualifier, got into the tournament, finished 33rd in the tournament, and then got into every single event for the next 2 years. Now today, or last year, I had I had no status, and I got through a Monday qualifier, and then I'm putting all this pressure on this event. And I'm like, I need to finish top 10 to get into the next week to then reshuffle so I can get special temporary status and then I can change my career and then this. So right now, all this knowledge is sort of working against me, adding all this pressure. Meanwhile, back then, I had all these things that could have added pressure, but I was just like, I don't really care. I'm just going to go play golf, and golf is golf. And so I'm learning to get more back into that mindset now. Yeah.
Almost like young and stupid then. Like what you don't know, isn't going to hurt you. Ignorance is bliss. How many phrases are there for? But like you didn't know any better, so you just, let it rip.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question, right? If there's a super tight, oh, sorry, I might have cut you off there, but I agree completely. Like if you're standing on the range, you can hit into a cone this big. You get on a course and the fairway's that big, and you're worried about missing the fairway. Why? Because you start thinking about the negatives, start thinking about what could happen, what might happen, instead of just being like, hey, where am I supposed to hit it? Let's go hit it there, and then I'll figure it out if I don't hit it there. So there's definitely a lot of big mental side to golf that I didn't know, and I think ignorance is definitely bliss. But now that I know, I kind of need to dive deeper into the know to know why and how to get out on the other side.
I think that's where a lot of people struggle, James, is towing that line of like not caring, but still caring, but not obsessing over it. Because I know even my nature is I'm all in, I'm going 110 miles an hour, I'm not stopping. And I care so much that I don't know how to feel like, or even take that step back and say, listen, you care, but you don't have to put as much pressure on you. I think that's a very kind of tough thing for some people to learn, which I think is a credit to you that you've been able to learn that, accept it, and now be able to apply it moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's again, ignorance is bliss, and we all care. Like that's why we're doing it. That's why we're out here. We already know that. You don't need to show people that you care. I think sometimes in the past when and I wasn't a club thrower or anything, but like if I just got down, I would almost try to show that I was down to show other people that I'm upset because I care, right? If I make a bogey and I don't show that I'm upset, they're going to think that I don't care, which that's not right. Like those people are there. They know that you care. They know that you're supporting you. You don't have to show that. And it's maturing in that way, right? I think all of us can do that as well.
Yeah, no doubt. So as I get into this, where you were last year and heading into this year, let's kind of talk about that TikTok. Okay. Because that video or Instagram reel, however, like that thing was unreal where you're running to the first tee. I must have watched that a gazillion times. Even yesterday, I watched it again. Explain that story for so many of us that have seen that when you're running to the first tee, it looks like you're grabbing different clubs of different people, just trying to throw the set together. Explain that story a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, one of those stories where pro golf, you got to take every opportunity you can get. And I was sitting, I'll never forget it. I'm a big Rangers fan. I don't know if you Jersey boys are Devils fans or not, but we'll get past that. So I was watching Rangers playoff game, and this was Wednesday night, and I get a call from the tour, and they're like, hey, your seventh alternate. I go, I know. And they go, well, the first six alternates don't want to come. They're playing an event somewhere else, and they don't want to show up. If you came, you would be first alternate. Do you want to come? Because we need to let the guys that are behind you know if you don't come. I go, 100%, let me look at the flights. And it was 9 p.m., and I needed to fly to Kansas City. And there's no night flights to Kansas City from New York. So the next option was like 9 a.m. the next morning. So I said, you know what? I'm going to try to get there. It says I'm going to get to the course by 10, which would miss the morning wave. But if I get there and someone withdraws in the afternoon wave, I'm good. Normally for an alternate, the withdrawals or the missed tee times happen in the morning. So I don't really know why I went, to be honest, but it was more so like I have conditional status. I need to get there. I need to do this no matter what odds or chances I have. Let's do it. So I used all my Delta miles to buy this flight that was super expensive to get to Kansas City. Get to the airport, and they're like, we don't have a captain to pilot this plane. So your flight's now delayed 2 hours. So I'm sitting there like, I'm supposed to get in at 10. Now I'm going to get there at noon. So I'm probably going to miss the first half of the afternoon tee times. It's definitely not worth it. But the captain came. We get on the flight. Again, no news. And this is Thursday morning. The tournament's already started. There's people on the golf course. So midway through the flight, I turn on my phone because I had Wi-Fi. And I have immediately like 100 text messages from my dad, my agent, my coach, they're all like, hey, you're in. And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, yeah, somebody just withdrew at 12:15. Can you make it? And I'm looking at my ETA and it says I'm supposed to land at 11:50 or 11:48 or something like that. And I'm like, heartbroken. I'm like, I'm not going to make it. The course is 30 minutes away. We're going to land at 11:50, probably get to the gate at 12, probably get off the plane by 12:15. No chance. So I asked the stewardess, I'm like, hey, what are the odds? And they go, oh, we're going to make some time up. We have a pretty good wind. We're going to make some time up. So I'm like, okay, like that's good news. We end up landing at 11:15. And I had the caddy of the player who withdrew. He offered to come pick me up from the airport. So he drove to the airport and was waiting for me. By the time we got to the gate, it was 11:30. And it was a 35-minute drive. So I ran out of the airport, got in the car around 11:45, put in the GPS, and it said 12:17, so 2 minutes after the tee time. So I'm sitting there still. Like my family has no idea if I'm gonna make it, but they know I'm on my way. Everybody's like, what's going on? What's going on? So he's cooking it down the highway. I'm like, I'll pay any speeding tickets you get. Sorry guys, we did rush a little bit to get to the tee time. But so we got there at like 12:13 and 20 seconds. At this point, I'm not looking at the minutes, I'm looking at the seconds. And during that car ride, I was calling the tour and being like, hey, do you guys have any extra clubs? Do you have shoes? I have nothing because I had to leave my bag. I couldn't wait for my bag, right? If I left my bag there, if I waited for my bag and got my bag, I would have missed the tee time. So the head pro offered to give me his clubs. So he gave me his clubs and I get there. One of the rules officials was like, do you need golf balls? I'm like, oh yeah, I need golf balls. I need a glove. Like, give me whatever you got, golf shoes. So they hooked me up with some like G4 golf shoes. I got perfect balls, glove. The tour did an awesome job setting me up. I had the head pros clubs, standing on the first tee. And then 20 seconds later, they're like, all right, on the tee from Scarzone, New York, James Nicklaus. And I hit the best drive of my life down the middle of the fairway, like 340 down the middle on a par 5. And I proceed to the next shot, hit an 8-iron over the back of the green, like 30 yards long. And I'm like, this is going to be a long day. I was so jacked up.
Dude, when I watched that, I don't even know when that came across my radar. It had to be like a while ago.
Yeah.
And then I was like, now that we're getting you on, I need to rewatch that. And I watched that and you running to the first tee, the announcer makes a name, you hit the tee shot, you pick up the tee. I'm like, it had to be good. He picked up the tee right away.
Good. It was so good. And I was right then and there. I was like, this is going to be a day. The Pride Pros clubs were a little bit different than the clubs that I was using, not to make any excuses, but they're P790s, which I didn't realize how far they go. I was nuking the ball and everything I was sending it over the green all day.
Yeah, dude, that's a crazy story. It's a crazy video. The whole nine was so good, but last year, obviously you end up on the DP World Tour. And listen, I'm one of those nerds that lives on my phone. I'm watching every video. I'm watching all the different places that you're going, all the different, every time that something gets posted, I'm always checking it out because I think it's kind of cool watching from afar. What was the experience like being out on the DP World Tour compared to like what we see here at home?
Yeah, the DP World Tour is an incredible tour, right? We're going across the world. It used to be called the European Tour, but it's not the European Tour. You go everywhere. So I started in Qatar, I went to Kenya, South Africa for 2 weeks. Then we went to Dubai for a week. Then we went to Europe, started in Belgium, Germany, Italy, off week in Greece, right? I went with my fiance to a great golf resort, Costa Navarino in Greece, and we practiced there and played there instead of flying home because 1 week was too short to go home and then come back. Then we picked up again in Prague. Went to Prague and then Amsterdam, Copenhagen, all over the place. And all these destinations are vacations that Americans, myself included, each individual one is a place I was bucket list, wanting to go to. And I got to go and get paid to do it and play in front of thousands of fans, meanwhile chasing a journey, to try to get back to the PGA Tour. Then we end the year in Korea, right? So we're all over the place, and it was a dream come true. There were so many events that I loved. The Omega event in the Swiss Alps. We played on top of a mountain, right? Incredible golf course. So TV doesn't do justice, and you can't really get the experience other than following through social media, get a little insight to it. But the food quality, the Airbnbs we stayed in, the beaches we got to visit, the places, the people, everything was unbelievable. And also the players that I met over there are some of my best friends and some guys that I'm going to keep in touch with for years to come. And I really had a great time.
Favorite spot?
Favorite spot. So favorite tournament would just be the one I played best in, but no, favorite spot was definitely Switzerland. We played in the middle of a ski resort in the Swiss Alps overlooking this huge valley. I mean, what's not to love about that? It was a really cool event.
Favorite meal?
Favorite meal. Ooh, after I finished fifth in Italy, and my fiance and I drove to Florence, and we got dinner at this amazing Italian spot. We ordered every pasta. You know, we got the truffle pasta that we never ordered because it's too expensive. But we were like, we're living large today, and that was a really cool meal because I feel like that was the first time that year that I just took a deep breath and I was like, wow, like it's actually working out okay. You know, great event, almost had a chance to win, and it was just really, really cool, man. The food was unbelievable too.
Yeah. Listen, I've been to Italy one time, and I swear to tell my wife all the time, if I could go back to any spot, like I'd love to go back there, simply just because that reason. The food to me was unreal. And then obviously you go to Q school. What are the expectations for you before you even tee it up there?
Yeah, so I mean, fast forward, I played DPQ school right before. So I lost my card on DP by a few shots, didn't play great coming down the stretch there, and had to go back to second stage of DP. Cruised through second stage, went back to finals, had a mediocre final stage, got conditional status on DP World Tour and full challenge short card. So that was my backup plan. I'm like, okay, I don't have my full DP card. I would have continued with full DP if I had it, but now I got to go back to the States and play first stage. So I played first stage, got through. Then I played second stage. And second stage, for those that that don't understand, Q school is the most nerve-wracking stage of Q school there is, because if you make it through to final stage, at least you've got conditional status on the Korn Ferry Tour, which means you can reshuffle, you can Monday qualify in. It gets you through the pre-qualifiers for the Monday qualifiers for the PGA Tour and a lot of other perks. If you miss the second stage, thanks for coming. See you next year, right? You get a whole nother year to your next job interview. That's the way you put it. A lot of time to think and think if you're good enough, think if you're doing the right stuff. So I ended up playing really well at second stage and got through to final stage. But now you've got to reset this mindset. You're relieved that you get through second stage, but now you're like, well, if you finish last at final stage, now you're not into any events. You're just going to be playing Monday qualifiers all year. And I already had full challenge tour status and conditional DP. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just go over there if I don't play well. But again, you can't have that mindset because you're focusing on doing well here. So going into Q school, have a great start. I'm 200 through 8. I look at the leaderboard. I'm in third. I'm like, this is great. I'm going to bypass Korn Ferry, go right to the PGA Tour. Like, this is awesome. Top 5 in ties go to the PGA Tour. But then, I get to the 9th hole and I make double. Then I bogey 1, which was my 10th hole. Bogey 2. So now I'm sitting at 2 over. I'm in like 125th place. So I went from 3rd to 125th in a matter of 3 holes. And that's golf, right? And now focus on my breathing, get back to the present. Let's lock back in. I ended up saving that round a little bit, had an unbelievable second round to get from 118th or something to 35th. Had a horrible third round, went back to, I think I was in 96th. And then that night was really tough for me because I was calling my family, calling my fiance, and I was like, sick and tired of getting to final stage every single year and then blowing it. I made it to final stage 4 out of 5 times in Q school, and I've never gotten a full Korn Ferry Tour card. It's always been conditional, which is outside the top 40 in ties. And now I'm sitting in 96th going into the final day, needing a 5-under round to get my full card, and knowing that this golf course is playing super, super tough, and 5-under was only shot once by any player in any of the previous rounds. And I think it was somebody shot like 9. Someone went berserk. But so that night was really tough on me because I was doubting myself. I was doubting my abilities. I was thinking about all these negative things. And also alongside those negative thoughts, I was like, well, we can still do it. Like there's still a chance. Like we got to fight tomorrow. But then there's always the but. Oh, but like, God, like, am I actually going to do it? And golf is hard because you have all this time to think about what you're going to do, rather than in my other sports like football and hockey. You just show up to the game, you have a little bit of pregame jitters, but then you react. The whole time you're out there, you react. This is, you are doing everything. You don't care about anybody else. So start that round, and I kind of told myself, let's just, give myself chances. So I make 6 pars in a row to start. And then on my 7th hole, which is hole 16, I look at my caddy and I go, hey, are we hitting driver today? Because there's this par 5 where I normally hit 3-iron and it's super tight. So the bowl where I hit 3-iron to is really wide. But once you hit driver, it gets really narrow on the right side, and there's OB right, hazard left. And he was like, we got to send it. Like, we got to do something. And my grandma was like, well, so I sent driver down the middle, like perfect high draw down the middle. I'm like, this was sweet. Par 5, I had 247 pin, and it's like an island green. So now, like, the first part's done, but now I have a really hard second shot. Hit the best forehand of my life to 8 feet. And yeah, unbelievable forehand. And so my grandma, she would follow every single one of my rounds. She would be on the computer shot by shot, be like, oh, he's in the rough, he's in the fairway. Why not? Why not? And her big thing for me after every single round, she'd be like, where was my eagle? You didn't make any eagles. Like, you didn't make any eagles today. What's going on? And I'd be like, she was a tough one. But she would be happy with birdies, but she'd be really happy with eagles. And bogeys, oh, she'd be pissed. But she passed away a couple years ago. And every eagle I've made since then, I just think about her. And so, like, I was standing on that green only thinking about her, having this little 8-footer to, jumpstart my round when I'm really, really needed it. So I hold that putt, made the eagle on this par 5, and I just like looked to the sky and I was like, Nanny, that's what we call it. I was like, perfect timing on that one. I really needed it. So that was a really cool moment and kind of got me started. It gave me a little perspective on what I'm doing and how many people are out there supporting me and have supported me. So end up cruising through those next couple holes, made a bunch of pars, and get to number 1. And I'm thinking, hey, Nanny, like another eagle would be great, right? Pump this drive down the middle. It's par 5. Pump it down the middle, have 4 in it. And I'm like, oh, like she's got me here. And then I flared into the bunker, hit it to 5 feet, missed the 5-footer, make a par. I'm like, you make it hard.
You let me down here.
So, and then I proceed to make bogey 2 holes later. And at that point, I'm like, it's over. Like we have 6 holes left and we are 1 under par. We need to make 4 birdies in the last 6 holes. Good luck. So I hit mini driver down the next fairway, in the middle of the fairway, hit it to a foot, tap in for birdie. Next hole's a par 3, hit it to 2 feet, tap that in for birdie. Then 6, which is the hardest hole on the golf course, I hit driver in the left rough. Then I was basically just hitting to the left edge of the green because right is all water. Hit it to the left edge of the green, had a 50-footer, canned that for birdie. So now I'm like, whoa, what's going on now? But the mindset was still, we need to keep going. We're not there. We need to get another one. Made par on 8, so made par on 7. Then on 8, which is arguably, if not the toughest, like 6, the second toughest hole in the golf course, like a 5-10 par 4 with OB left and right. Smoked it down the middle. And then I'm standing in the fairway. And sorry if this is a long story, but it's
love it.
And it's the Q school grind, right? And this is just one of the rounds. But the group in front of me is looking by this tree. They're looking around the green. So they can't find this kid's ball. So we're waiting there in the middle of the fairway. And I'm like ready to go. I'm so amped up. I got so much adrenaline. Just made a 50-footer 2 holes prior to like get myself on the number. And the kid starts walking back. I'm like, oh no, he lost his ball. So he walks back, walks past me, drops his ball, hits up. Then I watch him 3-putt from that spot. So he made triple. And then the 2 kids in his group both 4-putted for double. And I'm sitting there watching this, right? Because I'm in the fairway and I'm like, what is going on? Later, I found out that they were all pretty close to the number. And these thoughts are going to my mind because I'm watching like, okay, don't hit it in that tree because that kid's ball got stuck in the tree. Then he had to walk back. Don't hit it there. He's 4-putting from there. Must be really fast. Like, what's going on with the slope behind the green? So took a second to myself, took a deep breath. And also during this, the TV crew or the camera crew comes out and sets up behind my ball. So now I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm on the number. Like, I think I'm in a good spot because why else would they come out to film? I ended up hitting probably the best 7-iron of my life to 8 feet, 10 feet, made that putt, big fist pump, ready to go, super amped up. They got it on video. I actually posted it on my socials, but go to number 9, hit it down the right side, hit it to 50 feet, 2-putt for par. And I look at my caddy, I'm like, hey, I wasn't looking at the leaderboard, but is that enough? And I was like, thinking about it is very emotional to me because this is what I've worked for my whole career up until this point. And it's, we're not talking about a couple hours a day. It's like I practice 10 hours a day every single day for the last 4 or 5 years. And before that, throughout college to get to where I am now. And it's when things go your way, you need to be proud of it, because in this game, it doesn't happen often. There are so many failures. There are so many second places. There's so many miscuts and dead last. And for me, that was a huge moment to be like, wow, I just gained status. I got full status on the Korn Ferry Tour. I did it sort of moment. And yeah, and it's funny because like I have that success, and now it's like, oh, hey, by the way, like none of that matters. Now your season starts and you got to actually play good to get to the PGA Tour and to, climb up the world rankings. So that was my Q school journey. And I know I honestly forget what your question was, but that's just the stress and the pressure of it is unlike anything I've ever experienced. And I've played in front of, 50,000 people in a football game. Well, I actually didn't play much in the Yale Harvard game, so can't say I played much, but I was there. And then, in hockey, I played in front of a lot of players, a lot of people as well. So there's nothing that compares to Q school, even when there's nobody around.
Listen, that I love as a golf nerd and a fiend, like I love hearing that, because when you're not there and you don't get to watch it and all you get to see is a scorecard, you don't truly understand what is going on in a round. And I think that perspective of like, listen, I'm just going to keep grinding. I still got time. I still have a few holes. Who knows what can happen? That like never give up mindset kind of peeked its head out there for you to say, hey, listen, it's in me. I know I can do it. And then to get that card heading into this year, I got to assume that your confidence heading into this season, I don't want to say all-time high, but it's got to be feeling pretty good about what the future can help.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an all-time high. I mean, you said it best, right? It's like this is the best I've played at Q school, the best status I've ever had on the Korn Ferry Tour. Yes, I did play the full season on DP, but I'm going to take all that and bring it in here. But then you got golf, right? Like golf picks you up and it knocks you right back down 5, 6, steps further back. So you just got to, take the punches as they come. And we're just going to go to that first event, play the best I can. If that's a win, if that's a 10th, if that's a miscut, I got to accept it. I got to learn from it, move on. And it's very much easier right now sitting in my house, just thinking about that and understanding that. When I'm out there battling, it's much harder.
Yeah, and listen, I loved how when they put out like top 10 guys to keep an eye on this season, and I'm going through that, and then I see your name there. I'm like, you know what? I like that. I like that, because for Ryan and I, we're just two guys that are rooting for people like you, Ryan McCormick, that are out there that are legitimately just grinding. They're grinding, trying to get it to the next level. And we love that your name is in that top 10 list, because listen, it's inevitable. It's inevitable in my eyes.
I appreciate it. It's a journey, right? I mean, if it were easy, anyone would do it and everyone would do it. So I just got to keep going.
Yeah, listen. Well, I don't know if you have any other questions, but I literally just dissected a lot right there.
I'm sorry. It's super windy where I am. My internet was going out. I tried jumping on a Riverside liked it. I tried jumping on the hotspot. That didn't work. So the only thing I would ask is like, going forward, like what are we working on now? Did we cover that? Did you cover like what's like the not the state of the game, but like what do you feel like coming into this season? You've worked really hard, and this is what you're looking forward to.
I'll hop in there. I think he's paused, but state of the game is good. I did take a good break. You might be back.
Yeah, you're in and out, big fella.
I'll tell you what.
It's all good.
James,
so I took the last couple weeks off. I was in Antigua with my family. I proposed to my my now fiance, so that was a really special couple of weeks and time for me just to kind of relax and obviously propose and be with my friends and family. And didn't practice much golf. I did every morning just to kind of stay sharp. But for me, if it's not a 10-hour day, it feels like I'm losing it. But came back the last couple of days, got it back. I'm doing some good work tomorrow and the next day, and then I head to the Bahamas. So state of my game is good. I'm ready to go. I think my New Year's resolution was to not really care about how I'm playing or how I think I'm playing. It's just to go out and play the game of golf and not let these expectations or anticipation affect me. It's just, hey, we're going to go have fun with it. We're going to go do what we can. And I know that my good is good enough. We're going to go out. We'll see what happens. And then in terms of swing things, I mean, I can get really mechanical and whatnot. But again, another New Year's resolution is put the camera down. I don't want to see my swing on video like I do every single day. I do need to do it just to keep on my socials because that's just great for sponsors and things, but I'm not going to go look at every single swing and dissect what's going wrong because again, like that's just going to drive me into a deeper hole. So right now, just getting my feeling the club face, let it release. Let's just have some fun with it and get ready for the Bahamas.
It's a good spot to start the season at. That's for certain. So James, I'm gonna wrap it up with this final question. Is I understand that you're a Met guy, but I know that you've played a lot of golf here in the Garden State. You know, I see it all over your socials. And one of the questions I always like to ask guests, if you got that invite to this one special spot and you had to ask the significant other for the get out of jail free card, like, hey, listen, I know we got something going on, but I got to drop what we're doing because I just got invited to this spot. What would that spot be? But you can't say Pine Valley because the odds that the everyday person gets invited there are slim to none. Do you have a spot off the top of your head?
Well, just to go back, I'm very fortunate because my fiance, golf is my job. I don't need to get out of jail free. I just got to go to work. Sorry, work's calling.
Yeah.
But I agree.
We all don't have that luxury.
Hey, I'm just speaking for myself. I've gotten to play, like you said, a lot of great places in New Jersey. And this place I have played, Arcola, is one of my favorites. I won the Arcola Cup 3 times there. It is a special place. I played the Kerry Cup there at the MGA. And again, they got the best greens that I've ever putted on. So Arcola is a place where it's a lot of fun. I enjoy the course. I enjoy the challenge. Membership's been great to me. Grant Sturgeon, the head pro, it's been great to me. Arcola is that spot for me.
Yeah, we played there not this past November, the November prior. And I don't think I ever had more putts in a round because you hear the rumors. Oh, fast greens. It's like, no, I've played a lot of golf. I did play different. Forget about it. I think I had more putts than swings that day.
Boy.
So
that's a tough score.
Listen, it won. Arcola won, but I love my time there as well, so I can't really argue about that. But listen, I can't thank you enough for coming on today's show. Listen, you know, Ryan and I are backing. We love watching what you do, and we wish you nothing but the success out there in the Korn Ferry Tour this year.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.